hand-colored, well, you probably noticed, it's a panther ripping out of skin, the Dutchman. So he had the hand pencil drawing by the Dutchman, and I would look at it every fuck. It was the only piece of art of Flash. 10,000 pieces of Flash, it was the only thing that was art. You know, everything else was Flash. Even though he had Hawk Spalding stuff, Jerry Swallow, all that stuff, shit, hand drawn, this was the art stuff, you know. Wow, look at that panther, looks like a panther.
I have that sheet from Dave Shore's shop. Dave gave it to me before he passed when they closed the shop down.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's my favorite tattoo of all time.
I had all the plastic stencils, like all, you know, you know, you put the powder on it and you stick it on. And I moved so many times and fucking I was homeless, all this shit, it's all gone someplace, all thrown out by somebody into the garbage, you know. Had stuff from 60s, 70s.
Whose stencils?
D's.
D.U.
D.W. Bryant, Adventure Tattoo.
Where was that?
Toronto originally in the 70s, and that's where I apprenticed. His last shop, when he got divorced with one of his wives, he had to close everything because she was going to take it, right? So once the divorce was done, he opened up the third shop back again, and that's where I started tattooing.
What was that shop called?
Adventure, too.
Adventure?
I love it, more adventures, yeah.
I've never heard anyone mention that shop.
They had like the Fidelity card, like the club card, like Adventure Club, numbered, and I might still have that someplace.
Where in Toronto was that?
The Toronto was Queen Parliament, stuff like that, like the East End,
Yeah.
like east of Studio One,
Yeah.
and
So like near Art of Torture, was it Art of Torture?
I guess Art of Torture was, well, yeah, but Art of Torture was like, you know, 20 years later, or 30 years later, or something like that. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were only like from the 90s, no?
Yeah, they would have been around the early 90s.
Yeah.
Then.
They had his shops in the 70s.
Oh, okay. But when you started with him, what
93.
yeah, okay.
That's 22 years now. Like,
Fucking awesome.
yeah. Should have had my t-shirts ready. They're going to be ready in a couple weeks.
22?
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I started tattooing. Well, I got the job 3rd, 4th week of August, and I did my first tattoo on me like beginning of October. So I'll have the t-shirts ready for beginning of October.
What was tattooing in Toronto like then?
Well, I wouldn't know, right?
No, well, the
But,
atmosphere, like, you were getting, like, what were the shops like? What was the atmosphere? Like, it's not like now, right?
I didn't know. So out of all the, let's say, couple hundred friends, you know, all heavy metal dudes, punks, skinheads, skateboarder dudes, they were all, nobody had tattoos. I had one guy with tattoos. So nobody was interested in that shit. But because I was a lazy motherfucker and it was last year of high school, somebody told me I could do co-op. I should do tattoos. Fuck, why not? So I looked up, the only tattoo shops I knew was Tattoo-Rama. So Bill had it then, right? Or right before he got fired, whatever. And I went in there and supposedly I talked to Bill. Then I told Bill about it. He's like, I never had a mustache. So I don't even know who I fucking talked to. They told me it was Bill Baker. I went in, asked for like a co-op. He's like, no, we don't fuck around with that shit. But come back when you finish high school in the summer in 2 months, 3 months, and we'll give you an apprenticeship. But by then, you know, I was fucking already partying and crazy like that. And I forgot about that shit. And then I was homeless, and I was driving around on a bicycle with a friend looking for an apartment. And we're driving by Adventure. And it's probably the first time I ever seen the shop. Paid attention. And I swear the bike fucking stopped. I dropped the fucking bike. And like in the middle of the sidewalk, I actually heard people say, hey, what the fuck? You know, like people had to climb over the bike and stuff. And walked into the tattoo shop all green and shit, full of attitude and whiskey and stuff. And like, how's it going? I'm very talented. I like a job. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck is this? What, get the fuck out of here. It's like, no, really, you know, I know a lot of friends and lots of things I can get you. What the fuck? So like, listen, call this day and we'll talk to you. So I was camping, and I had to fucking find somebody sober to drive me from the campsite to a payphone, like 200 kilometers away from the tattoo shop. Collect a bunch of quarters collected from everybody. I was like, yeah, can I talk to D? He told me to go, call back in an hour. Fuck. Go back to the campsite, drink, come back, do that like 3 times, finally talk to him. Come in on this Sunday at 10 in the morning, and we'll talk. And we talked for 2 minutes. Okay, draw me this, draw me that, draw me a Bugs Bunny riding a rhinoceros, draw me that. Drew him all of that for like a couple hours. He's like, all right, come in tomorrow 10 at 10, $5 an hour. You work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Here's $20 for your trouble. See you tomorrow. Get the fuck out. So that's how I knew tattoos. That's my first experience of tattooing. At 15, I tried to poke myself with my mom's needle, but I chose the biggest needle and wasn't sharpened. I almost passed out trying to do 3 dots. So, my mom's going down and said, what the fuck are you doing? Nothing! That was tattooing, man. You know, I didn't know anything.
What was the atmosphere like in a shop back then? Like it's different now. Like
D
that's
was
what I'm trying to get at right
D
now.
was heavy. He was shorter than me, but he was like this. He already. I learned this over months, right? You know, his wife and stuff. He had a black wife, you know, like that was kind of too. You know, I'm Polish, and my stepdad's really racist. Everybody was racist. Everybody's Polish, and you know, like old school fucking, you know, European thinking and shit. So that was a little weird, you know. Like I never had any of that, you know. But that was kind of cool and all this stuff. And he's heavy duty. I found out he used to rob banks. He did fucking 8 years maximum security in Kingston. Killed cops, shootouts with cops. You know, fuck. Like he not only killed people, he killed cops. You know, like that's what the fuck, man. You know. And he could tattoo. He could fucking tattoo. It's crazy. Tattoos were coming in like 30 years old, and they fucking, you know, like they look better than I did, and I was 18. I was 18 years old, and those 30-year-old tattoos look better than I did, you know. But yeah, I lived on the street, and I was drunk, right? But still, fucking, it was crazy. So the shop, no bullshit, no nothing, straightforward. Education was, first was cleaning, and then was doing stencils. For 3 months, I did hand stencils, like with a red pen over all the fucking flash, you know, old Spalding 70s flash, all the new fucking shit that was coming out from Spalding, from that guy from Florida.
JD Crow?
Yeah, JD Crow. You know, old national shit, like just tracing. Then started teaching me needles, you know, like 300 sets for a week. That would took me actually a week. Then within months, I would do that in a day, you know, by hand.
Yeah.
There was almost no jigs. So 5 flat, you take the 5 needles, you hold it with your finger, and you dip it into the fucking, the little bowl of molten fucking lead, you know? And you dip that in, and they would like, but watch your fingers, he had no nail burnt to a crisp, you know? That was like 20 years ago, never grew back. So it's heavy duty, you know? His brother would come in and work and do guest spots, was total fucking, I heard he's still around, but he was total druggy, party dude, also could tattoo crazy, but he would eat mushrooms and tattoo clients and stuff. And then, so after all that drawing, then I did a couple tattoos on myself, did a couple tattoos on friends, and then came the real education, which took me years to fucking untake out of my head, hustling. Like within a few months, I could tell a person walking in the door how much money they had and how I could take it all. You know, 96 bucks. That's all I have in my pocket. The same Panther walking in 2 hours into the, like, how much is that? 125. That's all I have in my pocket. 45 minutes to go before closing time. I really want that Panther, you know, but I'm not sure. For you, buddy, you know, you look pretty cool. 70 bucks. That's all I have in my pocket. Same fucking Panther, same day, 3 times done, you know. That was tattooing.
Hustling.
That's all I'm.
But it wasn't custom, right? You were.
No. Well, he hired me because he already realized, he's been tattooing over 30 years. He realized that things are changing, and this is 93. I had no idea, you know, magazines were already coming out, and, you know, Chris Garver showing off his shit, you know, nothing like what he does now. But that was like eye-opening. Paul Booth was already started. So there was all these guys, you know, yeah, there's Philip Lou, there's Dutchman, and you could see his shit. And Tattoo Magazine was already showing like custom biker tattoos, you know, not the same old shit, but the new models coming out some kid drew, you know. But it was still like Mickey Mouse fucking with a hockey stick, Tasmanian Devil doing unspeakable things, you know. Fucking drew so much Tasmanian Devil, I could probably do it blindfolded. Still, I haven't tattooed one since the 90s, you know, but. So I didn't know, you know, tattooing. That was my tattooing and magazines.
Do you miss anything about that era?
I miss D. I miss that I never got tattooed by him. I ended up tattooing him before he died. Never finished the tattoo. It was horrible. But I drew it actually. That was kind of cool. What I miss about it? Yeah, the magic, the danger, the what's the word, man? I'm not a delinquent too, you know. So, and in 3 languages, I'm always missing something. I know the 2 other languages that word, but not fucking English right now. It wasn't as what's the word? Not unexpected, but you never knew what you were gonna get that day.
Chaotic.
You know? Yeah, it was really, it was crazy. You always had to be on your toes. You know, had my nose broken in tattoo shops by fucking guys, not even clients, two fucking young bikers coming in looking for my colleagues who were fucking their stripper girlfriends, and I was the only one. You know, I was 18. I look like I'm 14. You know, had my nose broken and shit, but I never sat down. I never cried. Blood pouring down my thing. I'm up to their nipples. I managed to throw them out. You know.
That's something that Brian Zuck and Thomas Lockhart brought up. That back then, to O2 shop, you had to be whatever it took.
You
to be
had
able to clear the fucking shop.
You had to be fierce. D taught me that. And for whoever I worked, even if it didn't work out, and even if they fucked me over, stabbed me in the back, or whatever, up to that point, that shop is mine. Because the only thing I was ever scared of, not that I believe in ghosts, but D coming back from the grave and haunting me because I'm not taking care of my own. When he would leave me at the shop, he would look me in the fucking eyes. Whatever happens, you fucking take care of this fucking place. So I never had to use that bat since whenever, but it's always there. Better have a bat when you don't need it, right?
Yes.
I'd never hit anybody now. Nobody even walks in here that when you... Hey, but Tintin's shop got robbed yesterday. 10,000 euros. No. Three guys runs in with guns. Hold up 5 employees and 4 clients. So, it's 2015. When did you think that would... I always thought if I ever needed money, I go to another fucking town and I rob a shop. Maybe don't put that on tape.
No, won't.
But didn't you ever think, like, if you're ever super in trouble?
No. I got friends that call before I rob somebody.
Yeah, there used to be days when I had no friends.
Yeah. So you're working in the shop. You must be getting an idea of what tattooing's like in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like what? Something the overall, like some cities are known for the type of tattooing that comes out of there, and there's just other people we've interviewed from Toronto have said that Toronto generally had not many people wanted big tattoos.
No.
It was generally done pretty cheap, and there was not a lot of people doing good work. Like there were good tattooers, but
I think now there's a little more, but it's still generic and safe, you know. Yeah, there's great stuff from time to time. Not that I know everybody, but you know, you get to see it through the internet and shit. But yeah, it's always been like that. There was a couple scary dudes, couple crazy dude, good history and pedigree, like beachcombers. And then, you know, the dad dies and the son runs into the ground, which happens in every city. Crazy Ace, you know, with the legacy of Way Cools and all that crazy shit.
What about Bruce and Stu Lower East Side?
Lower East Side, yeah, Stu K, sorry. Yeah, I was slowly getting... I moved west to east, right? That's Toronto for us is like you do that. Like the old guys go east to west, and then you guys would go west because everybody moved. East became, you know, kind of wasteland and immigrants, and you know. I'm an immigrant, but we were already west slowly, you know.
I grew up in Scarborough.
Oh yeah, fuck that shit.
I got tattooed.
My first girlfriend's from there, so.
The first tattoo shop I walked into was the first Lower East Side.
Oh yeah.
And I walked in and there's a bike in the lobby, typical, right? 14 years old.
That wasn't in the strip mall, no?
No.
The second one was in the strip
Yeah,
mall.
it was in the house. And I was 14 or 15. I just come from like taking karate or something. I had fucking enough balls to walk into the shop. There's a bike there. And this guy comes out. I can't remember who it was. Big guy walks out of the back and he's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I just wanted to check it out." And he's like, "You got any fucking money?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Get the fuck out."
Stu,
what? I got tattooed by them though later.
Yeah, of course. Because
that's
you got hooked up already, right? Like, all right, we talked. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Once I change my pants and, you know,
money.
don't smell like piss. And Stu was the only nice guy. Because I remember walking into Beachcombers. Because, so I got hired, and then winter came, and obviously no money, right? Like, D could only support himself, his shop, his wife and shit. She was piercing. But still, so he's like, "Listen, we gotta let you go." It was like late November, December. We gotta let you go. Okay, well, fuck. Well, okay. So I guess that's tattoo and seasonal work. So he's like, "But listen, if maybe you should go downtown, you know, because this is Mississauga, you know, like it's the fucking suburbs. Back then, Mississauga was still probably nothing, but it was really nothing. It was real suburb. It would take 2 hours to get to Toronto, you know, buses and metros and buses. And so I go into Beachcombers. Signs everywhere, man. Don't talk until you're spoken to. No chewing gum. No fucking kids. No dogs. No this. Like, instead of flash, he had signs on the whole wall. A huge wall. It's a huge shop. Holy shit. So you walked in there, you're already like just getting smaller and smaller. I think I said hi, no thank you, and I fucking ran out or something like that. Walked in again, asked if they're, no, we don't fucking hiring anybody. Well, these sent me, oh, these alright, but we're not hiring anybody. Went to Way Cool, got the dog sicked on me. You know, I don't.
Actual dog or was it?
No, the dog.
Okay.
I got the dog sicked on me twice. The first one I remember the dog. The second time it was like a white lab or something like that. Cause a white lab I got sicked by artistic tattoo here in Montreal too. Fuck, if I'm ever getting a dog, it's not a fucking white lab. So yeah, so Crazy Ace sicked the dog on me twice, threw me out twice. He was already opening up the places, so he wasn't there all the time. Third time I went in, they were kind of nicer. They actually bought Flash for me, but that was like 7 years later or something like that. You know, whoever owned the Queen Street original Way Cool was never seen the guy, but he was always very nice. Because the secretary would keep going downstairs and coming up like, sure, yeah. It's like, fuck, can I just go talk to him? But I guess it was secret.
That basement was terrifying.
I never been in there.
I got tattooed there years ago, and the bathroom was in the basement. It was fucking. You downstairs, you're just like, where the fuck am I? Like, dirt walls, like rock, and like it was just so bizarre.
Yeah, it was crazy because probably when I walked in there, I'm sure Craig and Steve were there, you know, tattooing someplace,
Right.
hidden away, you know.
And how long did you tattoo in Toronto for?
Okay, so I started, got laid off a few months into it, got hired again in March because, you know, it started picking up, winter was over. Tattooed again till like fucking whatever, November or whatever, they let me go. Then worked in fucking couple other sketch cocksuckers. He didn't even want to buy a proper sterilizer. We had like one of the boiler things. Well, that's what D had too, right? But yeah, we could talk about these so much. Like, man, there's days like this dirty shit, you know, old school dirty shit. But,
Talk about it if you want.
but whatever. So, well, we'll bring it up. But so then work with these guys for a couple months. It was so dirty I had to leave. Like, I didn't know how to be clean. But this was fucking dirty, like horrible. I never got taught this, so I started going to the library and fucking talking to a nurse friend, and then like, how do you clean shit, you know? Javex in the sink, in my mom's sink, fucking Javex and hot water and reuse the needle and shit like that, you know? And then D was sick, so I came in. He got severely beaten. Cops almost killed him. And he got severely beaten by them, and he developed cancer, 3 cancers. He was dead within a couple months, like 2.5, 3 months. So I came in to help his wife to pay the bills and just take care of the shop, the final shop, you know, because they had to move. D was so sick that he had a couple offspring, but they were out. They weren't tattooers. They were girls. One was a cop. It was pretty crazy. Imagine that. He was already losing because he had the brain of the cancer, liver, and stomach. So they were all slowly. So the brain was making him crazy. So he had nobody to leave this shit to. So he's like, fucking government's going to take it, or some cocksucker landlord. So he decided to flood the place and then set it on fire. So he flooded it in like mid-fucking January or something like that, minus 40 outside. Flooded it almost like halfway to your shin and then set the whole place on fire. Good thing everything was wet. Managed to be kind of saved, most of it. So they moved upstairs in the same strip mall. So I went in and worked there for a few months, like set the whole place up, worked there for a few months. They actually hired somebody to do that, but the guy stole shit and cheated them and stuff and ran away. So they called me. And 3 months or so of that, yeah, and he died. I never even went to see him in the hospital the last few weeks of his life because I was so scared to close the shop during business hours. Because I thought he would be mad at me if I go see him in the hospital. That's pretty fucked up, eh?
Where did he learn to tattoo?
I don't know. I don't remember. He knew a bunch of crazy old guys. He was like maritimer. So he told me he tattooed out east in the beginning a bit. And then he came down to Toronto.
I wonder if it was under snow or...
That might, something like that. I wish I knew, you know. Like
Yeah.
I lost all the stuff that his wife gave me after he died, you know, because I was the last apprentice and stuff like that. Yeah, I wish I kept somehow, like, now it's
His name was DB.
my boss.
Yeah.
D, like DEE W Bryant.
Oh,
W Bryant.
DW.
What Dwight, but D.
Okay. DW Brian.
But yeah, maybe Snow,
I
because it
can't
seems familiar, but maybe that's just my memory's not the best either.
The Toronto history of tattooing is really shady. Like it's everyone I've talked to, anything past the '90s is pretty. You don't know a lot about it.
Nobody, they all would speak on the phone from time to time because they still needed help or some resources and stuff. Nobody liked each other. They wouldn't have a beer, but they all kind of respected each other. Like when I was taking care of that shop when Dee was in the hospital, the fucking guy that cheated my boss and his wife and stole stuff suddenly showed up because he heard some kids there. I was 19. I still look like I'm 14. I have no tattoos. 2 tattoos I did on my legs. And he fucking walks in, huge guy, like 250 pounds or whatever, some boys, and like, yeah, I'm came to get my shit. I'm like, as far as I know, you have no shit. You robbed them, for a week. You told them there was no work, and you stole money. And this, who the fuck do you think you're? Well, I'm the last apprentice of D, so you better get the fuck out right now. And he's like, fuck you. I'm sorry, like, push me out of the way. I'm like 90 pounds. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna pick up a bat. If I hit this guy, I probably wouldn't even do anything. I'm like, oh yeah. Fucking had Rick Nightwind from Brampton on speed dial. He's heavy. I was like, hey Rick, there's this fucking guy. What's his name? Trevor or something. This fucking Trevor, like out loud. This fucking Trevor guy here, coming to get some of his shit. Supposedly, he's like, oh yeah, somebody be right there. I'm like, somebody be right there. Fucking everybody turned around, ran down the stairs. That was Toronto tattooing, right? No collars or anything, but heavy, connected, and you don't fuck around.
Yeah, rough city.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was like that everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Dave
So-
Shore told great stories. And Brian Zuck told even better ones. Brian's like 5'6", but probably 200 pounds, 220 pounds, just solid.
D was fucking nuts, man. The shop was in a strip mall. It was mostly black mall, like Caribbean.
Yeah.
Good Caribbean food, knockoff T-shirts, all that shit. Shitty Chinese restaurant, photocopier place, and an Arab dude that sold under the counter cigarettes. From the States. Back in the 90s, that was instead of $10, you paid like and shit. And so that strip mall. So it slowly started becoming more and more black, and a little trouble started happening. Dude would come in with a safari and start selling more T-shirts and shit. Nobody cared. It was cool. There were kids. Everybody was happy. Started selling drugs. So D walks up and is like, listen, I don't give a fuck what you do for your own money. And this is your own business. But during our business, this is the strip mall business, people who pay taxes and people who pay rent here, don't do that shit. Big black guys, who the fuck do you think you are? Why don't you get the fuck back into your shop, old man, before we do some damage? I told you once. Next day, 2 black guys walk up the stairs and like, yeah, where the fuck is this guy D? And he's like, well, I'm D. What's the problem? He's like, yeah, we heard you something. We came to set you straight. He came to set me straight. He put down his machines. He only wore one glove, right? The tattoo glove. The other glove, because you have to feel the skin before the guy passes out. Because if a guy doesn't pass out, you're not doing something wrong. And so he looked at his client and he's like, give me a minute. Put down the thing, walks up to the fire thing, the fire hose and the axe, opens it up, looks at the guy's like, let's talk. Grabs the axe like, what shall we talk about? And the guy's like, who the fuck you fucking crazy? He's like, you want crazy? Just runs full force on him. These guys fall down the stairs, run down the parking lot. He chases them, runs across 8 lanes of Huron, Ontario. They're running across another huge Loblaws parking lot. Chasing, he's like, I want to talk with the fucking axe. The next day, there's knocking on the door. And it's like, who the fuck knocks on a tattoo shop door downstairs? Just come on in. There's business hours and everything. So the wife looks downstairs like, come on up. Very nice black guy and another nice black guy. Small this time. Walk up. It's like, hello D. Hello Miss Bryant. We would just like to apologize for the incident that happened yesterday. That was very stupid. We just like to, nothing will be sold anymore. We're not even going to come after business hours. And he's like, I told you once, do this after business hours, do what you want, but keep the drugs off hours, and that's about it. No problem, sir. Whatever would you like, and all this stuff. Have a good day. And you know, he was like up to the nipples to those big guys. You know, they thought they were tough.
Yeah.
Every day, I would hear a story from jail, like what not to do and what to do in case you find yourself in this situation, and business strategy, which is dead now, you know, because when he went to jail, he came out with 3 degrees, 2 in business and 1 in marketing, while he became a full-fledged nurse, surgery room nurse. He's a smart motherfucker. A couple years after he came out of prison, he was worth $2.2 million. Not from tattooing. Not from drugs either.
Yeah.
Scams, tax,
Yeah.
like how to fuck the government over properly, legally. So that was my tattooing the first year and a half.
Amazing. Can you use the bathroom
Yeah.
real quick? We're gonna get-
I wish I could remember those stories, all of them.